Hey everyone, it is currently the 3rd of May 2015. Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you today. And I'm sure the topic really for the coming week is going to be our tropical outlook on what is soon to likely be called Tropical Storm Noul here. It's actually a name submitted by the DPRK. A lot of people don't realize that North Korea actually is part of the Typhoon Committee, the group that gets together, puts these names together, and all supposed to work together on a warning on storm systems, and they are the ones that submitted that name here. So this storm is currently in its development phase. If you are watching this several days after I made it, probably have some newer updates out. But for today here on Sunday, May the 3rd, it is still just towards the south of Guam. This is it right here on the Himawari 8 satellite imagery. I do want to point that out. Just starting to get some images from that new satellite that was just launched last fall and starting to be disseminated to the public. And you can see pretty good high-res imagery on here. Our storm system still tracking off here towards the west. We still have some convection back there towards the east and over the Philippines, at least here on Sunday, May the 3rd. We're looking at some fairly sunny skies. A few thunderstorms really flaring up, but for those of you who are heading out to watch the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, at least some decent weather for now, but that could be changing by next Sunday out here. So let's talk about the forecast for this storm system. Two parts to this update. The first part, I'm going to be talking about what it's doing right now, way off here towards the east, starting to impact the Pacific Islands. Then we're going to break down how it could impact the Philippines. Remember, I'm making this update before any official track has been released by any of the agencies. So right now, the Japan Meteorological Agency only has a 24-hour outlook. JTWC hasn't put anything out just yet. We're just looking at our own analysis here and breaking down where likely this could be going. So right now, let's take a look at the satellite imagery. And the big thing over the past 24 to 48 hours, we have been seeing more convection really wrap into that center of circulation. It was exposed on the visible imagery. You could see that low-level center here on Saturday morning. Now, as we look ahead into Sunday morning, not so much the case. What we're looking at is that convection is continuing to develop. That means heavier rainfall, more thunderstorms, higher winds in the center, and the winds, of course, are continuing to go up. Right now, 30 gusting to 45 knots, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. Pressure at 1,002 hectopascals. Do want to mention the Guam National Weather Service has not issued any warnings or advisories on this storm, but they do have a special weather statement out there noting that residents of Western Yap, especially Yap, Ulithi, and Feist. Remember, Ulithi and Feist took the brunt of Typhoon Maisak last month, and it does look like you could be impacted yet again. Nothing compared to Maisak, though. This is a much weaker storm system. It's developing much farther towards the west, but nonetheless, you still have recovery efforts there, and you could be seeing some fairly foul weather as this stays on that westerly projection. It's really the big question of how intense or how rapidly it could intensify before it impacts those of you there, but I don't think it's going to be quite to the typhoon status just yet. The big thing is it is moving very slow, so we're going to be looking at a lot of rainfall. One of the reasons it's moving very slow is a lack of steering flow here. Nothing's really pushing it along very fast. We have our subtropical ridge back here towards the north. That's what we always talk about here. And when we're talking about storms this far south this time of year, the big thing we always say is this going to weaken enough? Is there going to be a passing trough to dig into this ridge and allow our storm system to pull off there towards the north? So the Pacific Islands of Yap, the state of Yap, will be impacted by this. Some fairly heavy rainfall, I think localized flooding, especially for those residents still recovering from Maisak on Ulithi and Feist there. You're going to be really impacted. But it really depends on that passing trough off here towards the north. If we get anything to weaken and break down that ridge, if this could stay on a westerly track or a recurvature scenario, kind of what the GFS is pulling up right now, but you see the NavGem here kind of keeps it on the westerly track, so models aren't all in agreement. Remember, this is still what you're looking at right here. It's about a week from now. Actually, this right here, this from the ECMWF model, you have our storm systems moving over the state of Yap here, but this is by Wednesday into Thursday. Remember that beyond 3 to 4 days, tropical systems' exact tracks are a little bit rough. So we're pretty confident it's going to move here. But once we're starting to talk about a week ahead and the impact on the Philippines, we start to get into a kind of a gray territory here. And if this could basically run on that westerly track or pull off here towards the north. Either scenario, I think that the Philippines, if you are out here, you should have an emergency plan ready here, especially along the eastern seaboard if it does track in your direction. We're going to continue to keep you updated over the coming days here on exactly how this storm could impact you once the forecast becomes more certain. But I think at the very least, you're going to be looking at some fairly heavy rainfall, because the big issue is if this does take that easterly track, it could kick off the southwest monsoon, which we have seen in the past with storms that form in the month of May. They start to enhance that monsoonal flow, so widespread rainfall, not only along the eastern seaboards, but we would see that moisture come in from the west, so even Manila would look at some rain. We've been seeing drought out here, so that actually could be good news if you don't see a direct landfall from a tropical system or even a typhoon possibly. That could be some good news that you could get some rain in there, but too much causes problems, of course. The big thing I want you to take away from this image here is that in the long range, remember when you're looking at a model, break that down. When you're looking at a model, right now you're looking at the consensus, for example, of several different outputs from one supercomputer using that specific model platform. So these are all the different outputs, and then you look at the average that puts together, and that expects this storm to really just move out there and towards Luzon according to the ECMWF. The big thing is, though, it's not very tight. There is that big spread here, so that's telling you that in the extended range we are looking at some form of error, and that's to be expected when we're talking about a long-range forecast. So for now, we're going to keep you guys posted if you are here in the Philippines. Something to continue to watch. I think it's going to be a big rainmaker if you were there into the islands of Yap. Yeah, this is definitely going to be bringing some sort of impact here through the start and midweek. I think it's a slow mover, so it's going to be a big rainmaker, and you can see some of those areas out there likely going to see over 200 to 300 millimeters of total precipitation. In my coming updates, I'm going to break down more exactly play-by-play and exact timing of this storm system, more look at the models as it projects. But for now, this is more or less, hey guys, storm's coming, it's developing. This is something we're going to continue to watch over the coming days. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, though, please post them down there in the comment box below. And as always, stay safe out there. Bye.